Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Pay homage to the Blessed One. Dear friend, today November 23rd, 2018, and at Brahma Vihāra Meditation Center, I like to deliver Sutta number 9, Sammaditthi Sutta from Majjhima Nikaya. Right view. Sammaditthi means right view. Okay? Usually this one is scholar translated right view. So those who are practitioner, if we say harmonious perspective, it also makes sense, because harmonious perspective, in the bracket you can say the right view. That means especially for the practitioner, harmonious perspective is more clear than right view. Okay? So in this sutta, Buddha explained that actually not Buddha. In this sutta, Venerable Sariputra explained all the dependent origination and what is wholesome and what are wholesome and what are unwholesome. So during the Buddhist council, first Buddhist council, Venerable Ananda said, "Thus say by heart, thus say by heart, thus say by heart." It means that one is the word of the Buddha, Venerable Ananda. Okay, he said in front of the 500 arahants, "Thus say by heart from the Buddha," like this, like that, right? So thus say by heart, on one occasion the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jata's group, Anathapindika spur. There the Venerable Sariputta addressed the monks thus: "Friends, monks, friend," they replied. The Venerable Sariputta said this: "One of right view is said, friends. In this way is a noble disciple, one of right view, whose view is straight, who has a perfect confidence in the Dhamma, and has arrived at this true Dhamma." This is the question. You see? Did you see the question mark? So the monks, actually this one said, one of right view is said, friends. That means Sariputta is saying to who? To the monks. Friends means to the monks, right? In what way is a noble disciple one of right view, whose view is straight, who has a perfect confidence in the Dhamma, and has arrived at this true Dhamma? Then, indeed, friend, we would come from far away to learn from the Venerable Sariputra the meaning of this statement. You see, those monks came from the far away to know about that, because they understood that Venerable Sariputta was very wise. He was very wise monk and very intelligent monk. And the way Buddha can explain Dhamma, exactly the same Sariputta also can explain. That's why he was the most wise monk during the Buddha's time. So whenever Buddhist monk couldn't understand Dhamma, and they went to him and asked him, "Venerable Sariputta, could you explain this, that, because I couldn't understand that?" Then Venerable Sariputta explained very precisely, very clearly. So indeed, friend, we would come from far away to learn from the Venerable Sariputta the meaning of this statement. It would be good if the Venerable Sariputta would explain the meaning of this statement. Having heard it from him, the monks will remember it. Then friends, listen and attend closely to what I will say. "Yes, friend," the monks replied. The Venerable Sariputta said this. Now, Venerable Sariputta is going to explain what is wholesome and what is unwholesome. Now he will explain very clearly. When friends and noble disciple understand the unwholesome, the root of the unwholesome, the wholesome and the root of the unwholesome, in that way, he is one of the right view, whose view is straight, who has a perfect confidence in the Dhamma, and has arrived at this true Dhamma. And what, friends, is the unwholesome, and what is the root of the unwholesome, and what is the wholesome? What is the root of the wholesome? So now, Venerable Sariputta is going to explain what is wholesome and what is unwholesome, and what is the root of the wholesome and what is the root of the unwholesome. So now you can understand very clearly. First of all, he will explain what is unwholesome. Killing living beings is unwholesome. Taking what is not given is unwholesome. Misconduct in sexual pleasures is unwholesome. False speech is unwholesome. Malicious speech is unwholesome. Harsh speech is unwholesome. Gossip is unwholesome. Covetousness is unwholesome. Ill will is unwholesome. Wrong view is unwholesome. This is called the unwholesome. So it's become very clear to us, right? Because he explained very, very clearly here, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what is the root of the unwholesome? What is the root? Then he is going to explain. Greed is a root of the unwholesome. Hate is a root of the unwholesome. Delusion is a root of the unwholesome. This is called the root of the unwholesome. Does it make sense? Is it clear? Mm-hmm. Right? So no need to explain more. Then what is wholesome? Now he will explain what is wholesome. Just opposite. When you abstain from all those unwholesome things, that means wholesome. So he is going to explain. Abstention from killing living beings is wholesome. Abstention from taking what is not given is wholesome. Abstention from misconduct in sexual pleasures is wholesome. Abstention from false speech is wholesome. Abstention from malicious speech is wholesome. Abstention from harsh speech is wholesome. Abstention from gossip is wholesome. And covetousness is wholesome. Non-ill will is wholesome. Right view is wholesome. This is called the wholesome. It's very clear, right?
But it's a bit circular, because he says, what is right view? Right view is knowing what is wholesome and what is unwholesome. And then he says, and what is wholesome? Wholesome is right view. He says, what is right view? Right view is wholesome, and what is wholesome? Wholesome is right view. But it doesn't explain,
No, he will explain later on, okay. I think, because this is just... in this sutta, he explained very clearly. So when we go a little bit later below, I think we can get a clear answer, Mm-hmm. And what is the root of the wholesome? Non-greed is a root of the wholesome. Non-hate is a root of the wholesome. Non-delusion is a root of the wholesome. This is called the root of the wholesome. Right? So first one said wholesome and the root of the wholesome. Unwholesome, the root of the unwholesome. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, when a noble disciple has thus understood the unwholesome and the root of the unwholesome, the wholesome and the root of the wholesome, he entirely abandons the underlying tendency to lust. He abolishes the underlying tendency to aversion. He uproots the underlying tendency to the view and conceit, I am. Right? Mm-hmm. And by abandoning ignorance and arousing true knowledge, he here and now makes an end of suffering. So here is one question. Abandoning means what? Here said by abandoning ignorance. So what is the ignorance? You have to understand that. What does it mean, ignorance? Ignorance means one who doesn't understand the Four Noble Truths. The suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, the way leading to the cessation of suffering. So these Four Noble Truths, if someone doesn't understand, that means ignorance. Is it clear? So that's why I say abandoning. Abandoning means I should understand what is suffering, what is the cause of suffering, what is the cessation of suffering, and what is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. So when I understand, that means I have true knowledge. I gain the true knowledge. So in below, Buddha will explain every sentences. You'll see Four Noble Truths, Four Noble Truths, Four Noble Truths. You'll see. In that way too, a noble disciple is one of right view, whose view is straight, who has a perfect confidence in the Dhamma, and has arrived at this true Dhamma. You see, now is the nutriment. Saying, good friend, the monks delighted and rejoiced in the Venerable Sariputta's words. Then they asked him a further question. You see, first of all, they asked one question. When Venerable Sariputta answered that, then they asked another question. So that question is about nutriment. Okay? But friend, might there be another way in which a noble disciple is one of right view, whose view is straight and who has a perfect confidence in the Dhamma, and has arrived at this true Dhamma? You see, this is another question they asked. There might be friends who said that. Venerable Sariputta. Right? When friends and noble disciple understands nutriment, the origin of nutriment. See? When friends and noble disciple understand nutriment, this is the first noble truth. Okay? The origin of nutriment, second noble truth. So, okay, try to understand this way. Suffering, first noble truth. The cause of suffering, second noble truth. The cessation of suffering, third noble truth. Right? And then the way leading to the cessation of suffering, the Four Noble Truth. If you understand this, then this is the nutriment. But here in this nutriment is talking about first noble truth. You see that. And when disciple understand nutriment, it means food. Right? So this is the
I mean, there is this four kinds of nutriments. There is food, then there's sense impression, volition, and consciousness. You know the sutra on the four nutriments. Food is not the only nutriment. Like sense impressions is also a nutriment.
Right. So here I think talking about the sense nutriment.
Okay.
You know, then anybody disciple understand nutriment, the origin of nutriment, the cessation of nutriment, the way leading to the cessation of nutriment. In that way, he is one of right view. You see? Whose view is straight, who has a perfect confidence in the Dhamma, and has arrived at this true Dhamma. Is it clear? Okay, next. What is nutriment? What is the origin of nutriment? And what is the cessation of nutriment? And what is the way leading to the cessation of nutriment? You see, in this sentence, have the Four Noble Truths. Did you see that? The link, nutriment, if we say suffering, and what is the origin of nutriment? This is the origin, the cause of suffering. Origin means the cause of suffering, right? This is origin means second, and the cessation third, and then the way leading to the cessation is fourth. We can see here the Four Noble Truths, right? And there are four kinds of nutriment for the maintenance of beings that already have come to be, and for the support of those second and new existence. What for? Their physical food as nutriment. Now your answer is coming.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, now your answer is clear. Whatever you said is coming below. Grows or subtle as the first. You see?
Yeah.
Contact as the second. Mental formations as the third. And consciousness as the fourth. So you are right. Whatever you said. Right? And with the rising of craving, there is the rising of nutriment. So when you have a craving, so how to work on the craving? Do you know that? With the rising of craving, there is the rising of nutriment. With the cessation of craving, there is the cessation of nutriment. The way leading to the cessation of nutriment is just this noble eightfold path, that is harmonious perspective, right view, harmonious imaging, right thought, and then harmonious communication, right speech, harmonious movement, right action, harmonious lifestyle, right livelihood, harmonious practice, right effort. But this one you know already, right? Because I told you many times, right? And harmonious observation, right mindfulness, harmonious collectedness, right concentration. So these are the eightfold noble path, right? So when you can understand this eightfold noble path, that means you can overcome all the unwholesome things from your mind. Craving. When craving comes, tension and tightness in your mind, in your head, then you just relax it, take the relaxed step again and again, again and again. Then you are overcoming the all craving, right? And eventually you are observing, you are practicing Eightfold Noble Path, right? So when you are practicing, when you are using harmonious practice, that means you are practicing the entire Eightfold Noble Path. Okay? When a noble disciple has thus understood nutriment, the origin of nutriment, the cessation of nutriment, the way leading to the cessation of nutriment, he entirely abandons the underlying tendency to greed. He abolishes the underlying tendency to aversion. He uproots the underlying tendency to the view and conceit, I am. Right? You know, in this modern world, you'll see a lot of people have conceit, even including us, including me, people. When you
What is conceit?
Conceit means mana. We call mana. Conceit. In Pali, we call mana. Conceit means I am. This is my. This is my property. This is my house. This is my son. I did this one. I did that one. You see, I am. So that's what is mana. Do you understand? Right? So you'll see a lot of people who doesn't understand Buddhism, who never practice meditation, they have a lot of egoism, you know, and it's very difficult to overcome their egoism because they never practice meditation, they never observe precept, you know, they never try to understand Buddhism very well. Even though they are Buddhist, they don't understand, you know, because they never study Buddhism. And then they accept the precept from the monks, but they break again. Then they never understand what is the value of the precept. You know, in the big ceremony, everybody will accept Panati Pata Vedamuni Sikha Buddhan Samadhi. I abstain from killing living beings. I abstain from killing all living beings. That means I will not kill any living beings. You know, and I will not lie. But after going out and they start lying, that means they break the precept. So they understand what is the value of precept, you know, and they show I am, this is me, this is mine, this is myself. You see, in that way you cannot go deeper level to understand the Buddhism. You can understand Buddhism well, you know. So here, what did the Buddha say? what did Venerable Sariputta said here? He entirely abandons the underlying tendency to greed. He abolishes the underlying tendency to aversion. He uproots the underlying tendency to the view and conceit, I am. That means he uproots. He doesn't have that. You know, one who understands right view. He's talking about here like that, okay? By abandoning ignorance, that means he understands the Four Noble Truths very well. Arose in true knowledge. You see, he has now true knowledge. He gained a true knowledge. He here and now makes an end of suffering. In that way too, a noble disciple is one of right view, whose view is straight and who has a proper confidence in the Dhamma and has arrived at this true Dhamma. Is it clear? So now we are talking about, he's talking about Four Noble Truths. Okay. Saying good friend, now Venerable Sariputta is going to explain the Four Noble Truths, you see? Now will be, I think, more clear than before. Because even though he said at the beginning, nutriment, so now he's going to explain the Four Noble Truths. So what are the Four Noble Truths? Saying good friend, the monks delighted and rejoiced in the Venerable Sariputta's words. Then they asked him a further question. But friend, might there be another way in which a noble disciple is one of right view, whose view is straight and who has a proper confidence in the Dhamma, and has arrived at this true Dhamma? So this is the question, right? There might be friends who said, Venerable Sariputta, when friends, and one disciple understands suffering, the origin of suffering, the cessation of suffering, the way leading to the cessation of suffering, that is harmonious perspective, right view, harmonious imaging, right thought, harmonious communication, right speech, harmonious movement, right action, harmonious lifestyle, right livelihood, harmonious practice, right effort, harmonious observation, right mindfulness, harmonious collectedness, right concentration. That means, if you understand the Four Noble Truths, that means you are practicing the entire right effort, entire Eightfold Noble Path during the meditation. Is it clear? And now, what is suffering? What is the origin of suffering? What is the cessation of suffering? What is the way leading to the cessation of suffering? So at the beginning, Venerable Sariputta is going to explain what is suffering. Birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering, death is suffering. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and despair are suffering. Not to obtain what one wants is suffering. In short, the five aggregates affected by craving and clinging are suffering. This is called suffering.
What are the five aggregates?
Yeah, five aggregate we call Rupa,
form,
Vedana. Yeah, let me say in Pali first, okay? Rupa means form. Vedana, feeling.
Right.
Rupa, Vedana, Sanya. Sanya means perception. Okay? Sankara means formation. And Vihāra, consciousness. So these five are called five aggregates. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you understand what are the five aggregates, right?
Yeah.
So here said the five aggregates affected by craving. You see, when you have the five aggregates affected by craving and clinging. So if you relax the craving, if you take the relaxer step, okay, the tension and tightness doesn't arise in your mind. That means clinging also never arise, because you are overcoming, right? The craving. So if no craving arises, no clinging arises too, right? The cessation of craving, the cessation of clinging, the cessation of clinging, then cessation of is we call Pali Tannaha passaya upadana, upadana passaya bhavo, existences. If there is no craving, there is no clanging. If there is no clanging, there is no existences. If there is no existence, there is no birth. This is the link of dependent origination. You see, they are talking about like that. So here, you see, so now you understand. You see, what is suffering? Is it clear?
Yeah.
So, most of the people in this world, especially, they think that life is full of suffering. Everything is suffering in the world. Did the Buddha say like that? Buddha said particularly. He said, birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering, death is suffering, sorrow is suffering, lamentation, pain arise, grief arise, despair arise. All are suffering. Right? In short, the five aggregates. What are the five aggregates? Form, feeling, perception, formation,
consciousness.
and consciousness. These five aggregates, in short, are called affected by craving. In five aggregates, if no affected, then no suffering. If affected by craving and clanging, then suffering arises. Okay? So, except this, did the Buddha say, in this world everything is suffering? But people think that Buddha said everything is suffering. No, this is not true. Not everything is suffering, because he said clearly here what are suffering. Right? So, what is the origin of suffering? It is craving. You see? So, how to overcome the craving, as I told you? Just tension and tightness arise in your head and your mind. Just relax it, don't give attention there. Recognize it, relax it, and then relax. Tension and tightness. You see, tension and tightness, one sort of craving. Just so when I was in Burma, I saw many of my friends. They try very hard. They try to attain that 10 kinds of insight knowledge in the Vipassana. They want to be Arahant very soon, and they work very hard. They practice very, very hard. That way you cannot attain Nibbana. You cannot become Nibbana, So it means you are increasing craving, right? You are developing craving. So your mind will be more and more restlessness, wandering. So do you think you can attain that way? No, it's not possible. So that's why he said relaxing, pasambaya, relaxing. Okay, tranquilize body as the body. This is called relaxing. You have to relax. Relax is very important. That means you are eradicating craving and clinging. Okay? So that way you can develop your meditation well. So here, what is the origin of suffering? It is craving, which brings removal of being. Being means what? Existence. Is accompanied by delight and lust, and delights in this and that. This is craving for sensual pleasures, craving for being, and craving for non-being. This is called the origin of suffering. This means, you see, craving for sensual pleasure, kama tannaha. Do you know why I'm talking about in Pali? Because so that you can be familiar, you can learn those things. So you see, sensual pleasures means kama tannaha. You see, craving for kama tannaha, for sensual pleasures. Craving for being, that means bhava tannaha, existence. Craving for existence. So when you have craving for existence, craving for sensual desires, and craving for non-being, vibhava tannaha, craving for non-existence. So this...
What does that mean, craving for non-existence?
Craving for non-existence, it means when something craving arises in your mind, you don't know. that, but it's coming, you cannot catch it. It's very clever, but when you can catch it, that cannot arise in your mind. Now I understand. This craving is giving me a lot of problem. Wow, he is very clever. Vibhava tanaha, non-being is coming, but I don't know that. But when I catch them, when I catch it, then it's never come to my mind, because I understand now. This non-being, vibhava tanaha is making me a lot of problem. When people die, they immediately, even 1 second, immediately they are reborn again. We call actually in Suti Sitta, that consciousness, Bhavanga Sitta, life continuum, and Patisandhi Sitta, rebirth consciousness. So when you die, your body is like oat. When you die, you don't have consciousness, right? So your body is like oat. But consciousness transfer immediately and produce rebirth consciousness. Produce rebirth. So in the consciousness, whatever you do, wholesome action and wholesome action will follow and produce rebirth. So that's why it's a renewal of beings. Okay? Is it clear?
Okay.
Which brings renewal of being. That means whatever you did wholesome things in this very life, unwholesome things in this very life, brings renewal of being. It will take you, where will you reborn? You will reborn in the poor family, you will reborn in the middle family, or you will reborn in the rich family. It's depend on your karma. It's depend on your wholesome action, unwholesome action. But if you do a lot of unwholesome action before that, if you remember all signs of bad things, then you reborn in hell. This is according to Buddhist scripture. Mention that. So this is craving for sensual pleasures, craving for being, and craving for non-being. That means kama tannaha, bhava tannaha, vibhava tannaha. Okay? This is called the origin of suffering. So is it clear? Now we explain two truths, right? The third one. What is the cessation of suffering? It is remainderless, fading away and ceasing, the giving up, the relinquishing, let it go, rejecting, relaxing of that same craving. You see, he explained many ways. Relaxing, rejecting, letting go, that same craving. So all those things are the craving, This is called the cessation of suffering. So when you let it go, okay, rejecting, relaxing, that way you can overcome craving. So if you can overcome craving, if no craving, there is no clanging, if no clanging, there is no existence, if there is no existence, there is no birth, if there is no birth, there is no sorrow, no lamentation, pain, grief, and then what? Despair. Then you attain Nibbana. Right? So, number 18. What is the way leading to the cessation of suffering? It is just this noble Eightfold Path. So, you see, he's explaining again and again, Eightfold Path. So, Eightfold Path is the right way. When you practice Eightfold Noble Path, that means when you practice that all the time, that means you are practicing the right entire the right harmonious practice. You are practicing the entire harmonious practice. This Eightfold Path will lead you to Nibbana. Okay? So here, harmonious practice, right effort, harmonious imaging, imaging, right thought, harmonious communication, right speech, harmonious movement, right action, harmonious lifestyle, right livelihood, harmonious practice, right effort, harmonious observation, right mindfulness, harmonious collectedness, right concentration. Right? So here, this is called the way leading to the cessation of suffering. So how many truths did you get now?
4.
We did the 4. Now you got the four noble truths, right? Number 1, suffering. Number 2, causal origin of suffering. Number 3, cessation of suffering. And number 4, the path leading to the cessation of suffering, right? These 4 are called 4 noble truths, right? When a noble disciple has thus understood suffering, the origin of suffering, the cessation of suffering, the way leading to the cessation of suffering, he entirely abandons the underlying tendency to greed, because he understands that.
But what is, when you say delusion, is it the same as ignorance, or it's something different?
Yes. There are many English meaning. Delusion, ignorance, and then another one is called...
so because when he says greed is the root of unwholesome, hate is the root of unwholesome, delusion is the root of unwholesome. So delusion is the same as ignorance.
Yes.
So not knowing the 8.
Not knowing 4 noble truths.
The 4
noble truths. Okay? So he entirely abandoned the underlying tendency to greed, because he abandoned already that, and he abrogates the underlying tendency to aversion, no hatred. He uproots the underlying tendency to the view, and conceit, I am. He doesn't say, I am, you know. So he abandoned it, okay? By abandoning ignorance and arousing true knowledge, you see, he gained a true knowledge. He here and now makes an end to that suffering. In that way too, a noble disciple is one of right view, whose view is straight, who has a perfect confidence in the Dhamma, and has arrived at this true Dhamma. Now, Venerable Sariputta is going to explain what is aging and death. You see, this is the entire dependent origination. Can you realize that? He's going to explain from the backward to forward. We call ignorance, ignorance, conditions, formation. Formation, condition, consciousness. Consciousness, condition, mentality and materiality. Right? We call in Pali avidya pasaya sankara. That means ignorance, conditions, formation. Sankara pasya vijnana. Formation, conditions, consciousness. Vijnana pasya namarupa. Consciousness, conditions, mentality and materiality. Okay? Namarupa pasya salayatana. Mentality and materiality conditions, 6 sense bases. Right? And salayatana pasaya avidya pasaya sankara, sankara pasaya vijnana, vijnana pasaya namarupa, namarupa pasaya tanha, craving. So craving, 6 sense bases condition, craving. Tanha pasaya upadana. Craving, conditions, clinging. Upadana pasaya bhavo. Clinging, condition, existence or being. And then existence, condition, Bhava pasya jati. Existing condition, birth. Okay? Jati pasya jara marana. Jara marana means aging and death. Okay? Jati pasya jara marana. That means birth condition, aging and death. Jara marana sukha. That means sorrow. Sukha, jara marana sukha parideva. Lamentation. Dukkha dumanasa, grief and despair. So this is an entire dependent origination. Does it make sense? Is it clear or not? Okay. So here he is talking about dependent origination. Entire dependent origination, okay? So he said aging and death. So saying good friend, the monks delighted and rejoiced in the Venerable Sariputta's words. Then they asked him a further question. But friend, might there be another way in which a noble disciple is one of right view, whose view is straight, who has a perfect confidence in the Dhamma, and has arrived at this true Dhamma? So this question who asked?
The monks.
Monks asked to who? Sariputta. Venerable Sariputta. There might be friends, and well disciple understand aging and death, the origin of aging and death, the cessation of aging and death, the way leading to the cessation of aging and death.